I haven't watched Animal
Okay.
yet, so I can't comment on Animal. But I am of the, because I'm a filmmaker also, I am of the opinion that as a filmmaker, if you think you need to shoot graphic violence to be able to say the story the way you want to say it, you should have the liberty to do it. But I also know that without the violence, Salaar will not be what Salaar is. I'm really looking forward to watching Dunki.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a huge Shah Rukh Khan fan. And of course, I'm a huge Rajkumar Hirani fan.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to watching Dunki. And as a film lover, I think it is the greatest holiday season ever, at least in Kerala, because we have Salaar, we have Dunki, and we have Neru, which is a Mohanlal Jitu Joseph film.
Hi, Prithviraj.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
All good. Do you like Bombay in general?
Of course I do.
You do?
Yeah, I mean, my wife thinks of this as a home city.
Yeah.
Because she spent all of her professional career, almost all of it, in Bombay. So I do have a house actually in Bombay, and though I live in Cochin.
Yeah.
And to me, this is, since my wife is from here, like she thinks she's a Bombay girl.
Okay.
This is like second home for me. So of course I like Bombay.
Lovely, lovely. But we are so glad you're here. We finally, like I told you, caught hold of you because we don't get to very often. But welcome again. And okay, so Salaar, we're going to talk about it, your next big release. I read that, Mr. S.S. Rajamouli is the first one who actually bought the ticket. Yes, tell me a little bit about, what does that support, that sense of brotherhood, from people of the same fraternity mean to you?
No, it's amazing. At least, he is probably the biggest filmmaker the country has at the moment. Probably one of the biggest international brands India has is S.S. Rajamouli, sir. And for him to come out and extend that support to us, not just about buying the first ticket, he actually interviewed Prashant, Prabhas and myself. And we had a long 2.5 hour long conversation about Salaar, about cinema, about his kind of filmmaking. For him to be taking that time off and coming and supporting a film with which he is not necessarily involved with in any capacity is just amazing. It's a humbling experience that somebody with that kind of clout and influence can go out there and help a friend's film or another film from his own industry, and to make sure that we get that visibility. Rajamouli sir interviewing us gives us more visibility. He doesn't need to do it. So it was wonderful. It was amazing, and I've known Rajamouli sir for a while now. He's that kind of a person. He is just a really, really nice person. Yeah.
Will we see you working with him?
I sure hope so. I pray I get to work with him someday, like probably every actor in the country. I'm also hoping and praying that someday I get to be directed by him. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Okay, so, this is one thing that I think really connects you and Prabhas sir, which I really admired. You stated in an interview recently that, you had a role on paper, but, it was because of Prabhas sir to a certain extent that, it's probably got extended a little bit while you were shooting.
So more than, I did actually, but more than my role getting extended, which it did, what we really sort of discovered and fleshed out from the script even more so is the bond between these two characters.
Right.
It was always a film about two friends. From the ideation stage, the story was about these two people, about Deva and Varada, which was a surprise. So I listened to the first narration of Salaar much before the general public got to know about such a project. Right?
Okay.
I mean, this was during the shoot of KGF 2.
Right.
That Prashant, the first time over a Zoom, told me the idea of Salaar. And I was very surprised because when you think of the director of the KGF franchise making a film with Prabhas, who's one of the country's biggest stars, you don't anticipate it being a story about two friends. You don't anticipate it being a story about the bonding between two men. And that really surprised me. And full credit to Prabhas for being secure enough, for being confident enough, for being magnanimous enough to say that, no, this is a film that needs to be made.
Yeah.
And that character has to be played by so-and-so, and we really have to make the film about these two people. And as we progressed in the shoot, I remember Prashant telling me that I always knew it was going to be a story of two people, but to get this together, what is happening on screen, is something that, that's pleasantly surprising me too. So from what is written to what is in the film today, I think you will see a lot more about the bonding, about these two absolute friends who can kill and die for each other.
True.
and then what happens between them.
Yes. So that's exactly what I was coming to, the sense of security that you're talking about. I mean, I also heard somewhere that, you actually passed on the role of Ibrahim in Kuruti to Roshan Mathew.
Yes.
This is something, and it's so nice to see that, two such big stars, you and Prabhas sir, having this sense of security. Tell me something, has this stemmed over time, or were you always, this sense of security was always there? Does, for the lack of a better word, selfishness of an actor never take precedence?
You know what? It comes from absolute selfishness. It comes from absolute selfishness and knowledge of knowing that if you have a fantastic role in a film that doesn't work, it doesn't matter. People are going to forget the film and you. But if you have a role that works in a film that works, that is what will count. So if you are an actor who's intelligent enough, you will always know that you have to put the film first, right? You could have a mind-blowing character, and if the film does not work, people will not remember the character. But if you're part of a film that works, people will always remember the film and your character. And people like Prabhas, they know this better than anyone. Prabhas knows that for Salaar to work, the bond between Deva and Varda will have to work.
Yeah.
So he knows that I know for Salaar to work, that Deva will have to work. The most discussions, the most suggestions I have given Prashant, the most number of times I walked up to Prashant and told him, listen, I think there's another way to do this scene, are not about my scenes. They're all about Prabhas' scenes. Prabhas will tell you this, Prashant will tell you this. I've always believed that your first priority should be the film itself. What you do in the film should be your second priority. Because ultimately, your aim as an actor should be to build towards the vision of the director and to make sure you're part of a film that works.
Right.
So it's from that thought process, that selfish thought process that I have to be part of a film that works no matter what, that you then start thinking, no, it's not about me, it's about the film.
Lovely. That's so lovely. You said that, Prabhas is blissfully, delightfully unaware of his stardom. I mean, this might not be, you might not be the right person to answer this, but do you also feel the same about yourself?
Me, no, I'm not as nice a guy as Prabhas is.
Why do you say that?
No, because he is just incredible. Like he, see, what I must have been there with him for, I don't know, 7,500 days. Every day I have seen him, and not just to me, to everyone on set, asking them, would you like some food to be sent? Are you comfortable? Is there anything you want? This guy does not sit down if there's another person without a chair standing. And he is just that guy day in, day out, all through, right? I'm not that nice. I have to be honest. Yeah, he's one of the biggest stars of the country, and probably the only person who does not know this is himself. And he's really delightful that way. And it's impossible to be uncomfortable with him. Yeah. If you ever meet him and if you get a chance to interview him, you'll see what I mean.
Yes, yes, that's true. Okay. So Salaar has received an A certificate. You have compared it to, something like Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Would you say that, the fact that it has received an A certificate will perhaps, cut down a certain chunk of the audience from watching it?
Well, I assume...
Is that something that's...
Well, I assume children will not be allowed in theaters, which is understandable because it's a film certified A.
Yeah.
But I also know that without the violence, Salaar will not be what Salaar is. Because the violence in the film is very much a character of the plot, of the premise. And it's a screenplay instrument to further the drama. I keep comparing it to Game of Thrones because Salaar is very much a drama. In spite of all the spectacular action, the violence, the huge production design, the massive sets, everything, Salaar is essentially about relationships, about what happens between these two people.
Right.
Not just about these two people. There are a host of characters, and it's very intricate character dynamics, and it's a drama, beautifully written drama, which is why the comparison to Game of Thrones. And I completely understand why Prashant decided that rather than make a few cuts and get a UA, I'd rather keep the violence as it is and get an A. Because if he had made those cuts, I think the film would have been incomplete.
But are you a Game of Thrones fan?
Yeah, I love it's easily one of the best written streaming service materials ever. So, I mean, of course, after a point, you felt like the makers were pressured into sort of going on with it, which happens across networks, across series. It always happens, but on a base level, it's just a wonderfully written series. Yeah.
Absolutely, very true. Since you're talking about violence in a film, and you rightfully said that, perhaps the violence here in Salaar is a character in itself.
Yeah.
We recently saw Animal. It's creating, ripples at the box office. Also, grabbed a lot of attention for its violence quotient. Do you think that has also somewhere cemented your confidence in, Salaar being a violent film?
So I haven't watched Animal yet, so I can't comment on Animal. But I am of the, because I'm a filmmaker also, I am of the opinion that as a filmmaker, if you think you need to shoot graphic violence to be able to say the story the way you want to say it, you should have the liberty to do it. Because ultimately, after having made the film, you are submitting it to a regulatory authority called the censor board and then they tell you that, listen, your film is going to be certified such and such, which means only such and such sections of the audience can watch your film.
Right.
So our responsibility as a filmmaker is to make sure that we submit it to the censor board. How we make the film should be left to us, because the audience has already been told this is certified such and such because it has violence, because it has nudity or whatever, it has already been said. So censorship should happen at the exhibition sector. Make sure that, who goes into the theater and who gets to see the film. Other than that, the filmmaker, because I'm an artist, I've always believed that we should have the liberty of making what we want to.
Right.
But of course, who sees the material should be regulated as it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Pan-Indian films is like the order of the day today. So you are now, directing Lucifer too.
Yeah.
So, especially when you take over the director's chair and you make a film, does that pressure of giving it a pan-Indian multilingual release come to your mind ever?
So the first thing to understand here is that you cannot make a pan-Indian film. The film becomes pan-Indian. You don't set out thinking, let me make a pan-Indian film. This is a discussion I've had with multiple corporates across, discussion tables like these, where I've told them, no, we are thinking wrong. When you start asking me, can that character be done by someone from Hindi? Can that character be done by someone from Telugu? You are essentially doing this, I understand, to make sure that the film has relatability across languages, because actors from various languages are in it.
Absolutely.
But then you look at all the pan-Indian successes, they didn't make the film a success because of who's in it. Let's assume a Bahubali, the beginning of the whole movement. It was essentially completely, made from Telugu stars. Let's look at KGF. Let's look at Kantara, even more, probably gratifying example. So you don't make a pan-Indian film. You choose a script, you choose a story that you want to say, you write a script, and then you stay honest to what's on paper and try and make the best version of that script. Of course, you want your film to be viewed by people across the country. Where a normal, small-scale, industry-specific film and a pan-Indian film will differ is at the other end of the spectrum. How you release it, how you market it, how you go around, like say today, Salaar is, an A-list release in every language in India. Right? It was an A-list release in Hindi, in Telugu, in Kannada, in Malayalam, in Tamil, everywhere. There it differs. As you're making the film, you're making an honest film. You're not making a pan-Indian film. So that is, I think, something that we need to come to terms with, because everybody is after the pan-Indian pie.
That is right. Yeah. Okay, so tell me something honestly. Let's say tomorrow you get a script, from it's a Kannada film. And so what happens is sometimes your character, you as an actor perfectly fit into the shoes of the character. And sometimes you as an actor can figure it out that, okay, I might be cast in this film for this character so that the makers at large can perhaps capture the Malayalam market.
Yeah.
Do you sometimes figure that out? Why you are being cast?
Yeah. So the classic case and example is Salaar, right? When Hombale Films, in fact, Salaar was first pitched to me by Hombale Films at the end of a discussion where we were discussing the possibility of me directing something for Hombale. And they told me Prashant would like to pitch a character because we are doing this big film that Prashant is directing and Prabhas is starring in. And my immediate reaction within myself is to say no. Like, I'm getting prepared to say no because this is exactly what I thought. I'm thinking, oh, okay, this must be like some 400-500 crore film that they're making, and they're going to try and get stars from various industries to sort of cushion each market and all that. All that thinking flew out of the window at the first narration. Because I realized that Prashant is not thinking that way. For Prashant, it was not about this guy from that industry, this guy from this industry. At least for Prashant, because I know him personally now, I kind of know how he works. It was purely based on who he thinks is the best bet for his character. And I know this for a fact, because at one particular point in time, owing to the pandemic and various different other things, there was a point where I thought I will not be able to do Salaar. And I met Prashant and I told him I would have loved to do this film, but unfortunately it looks like I am not going to be able to do it. Prashant and Prabhas stopped the shoot and they reworked the entire schedule around to make sure that they somehow get me. Which then tells you that if Prashant Neel wanted a star, he could have got anyone. He could have got, I'm not the only option. If a star is all that he wanted, he's Prashant Neel. And he could have, and after KGF 2, absolutely, yeah, he could have gone to anybody. Yeah. For him, it was no. In my mind, Prithviraj is Varadaraja Mannar. So, I am also equipped enough as a filmmaker and as an actor to read a script or to hear a narration and then understand if they're after the star or if they're after the actor. The idea is always let the actor make the decision, not the star.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so, but are you directing that film for Hombale?
I am.
Oh, so it's happening?
Yeah, I am. It's already been announced, yeah.
Which one is that?
It's called Tyson.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, can you tell us if Yash is part of Salaar?
No, he's not.
All right, yeah. Okay. So we know that you and Dulquer Salman, you know, are great friends. You know, I've spoken to Dulquer and he always speaks very highly of you. Why is it so that we haven't really seen you together in a film, like a proper film together?
Well, we'd both love to do something. I mean, I'm sure Dulquer will tell you the same thing, that we would love to collaborate on a film. And it's something that both of us are looking forward to. But because it's so highly anticipated, at least in Malayalam, I know that, people are looking forward to something like that, where Dulquer and me would do something together. Because it's highly anticipated, I think both of us share the responsibility of lending ourselves to such a film only when a script like that comes across. We can't just start off from the other end of the ideation saying, let's do a film together and then start searching for a script. That's just the wrong way to go about it. So hopefully one day, someday, a writer, a filmmaker will walk up to both of us and say, there is a script that I think would be great if the both of you are in it together, and both of us also mutually think that way. And yeah, I'd love to do a film with him someday.
Yeah. Is he an emperor? There were reports.
I have not let out any cast details on Empuran. So, as of now, the only person I can confirm is an Empuran is Mr. Mohanlal.
Oh, lovely. Okay. I'm getting cues. We don't have much time. Yeah. But so, I think it's great that we have two major releases like Salaar and a Dunki together. I think the audiences are going to get, two options, and, that's going to drive in so many more people to the theatre. Are you looking forward to watching Dunki? Have you seen the trailer, anything?
I'm really looking forward to watching Dunki.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a huge Shah Rukh Khan fan. And of course, I'm a huge Rajkumar Hirani fan.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to watching Dunki. And as a film lover, I think it is the greatest holiday season ever, at least in Kerala, because we have Salaar, we have Dunki, and we have Nere, which is a Mohanlal Jitu Joseph film. And they are collaborating after Drishyam 2.
Yeah.
So as a film lover, this is like the greatest holiday season ever. We get to have 3 really big films, at the box office. And I don't know about you, but I'm watching all 3 for sure.
I will, for sure. Okay, very last one. We are eagerly waiting to watch you in Bade Miyan Chote Miyan. I know you might not be able to disclose too much about it, but can you tell us what took you so long to come back to doing a Hindi feature film?
The fact is that I didn't find anything exciting. Of course, I read scripts and I listened to narrations. I did. But I didn't think anything was exciting enough to warrant me taking time off from Malayalam cinema and coming here and doing this. And with Bade Miyan Chote Miyan, I think the first teaser of the film will come out very soon. And that will surprise a lot of people with the scale and with what the film is about and all that. And it is a really exciting script. And Ali is a fantastic filmmaker.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I really hit it off with him. I really understand how Ali sees things and how he visualizes and perceives things, and my character. And it is, I can't say a lot, but I don't know how someone can say no to that. It's that
Yeah.
kind of a character. Yeah.
Right.
So I'm really looking forward to that film.
Well, we also look forward to, seeing you do more comedy. Like I told you, maybe the Bro Daddy, something like that.
I mean, I would love to. I would love to do comic films. I would love to direct more comic films.
Yeah.
But it's one of the toughest genres to write,
I'm sure.
because comedy on an Instagram reel that lasts 60 seconds is a lot easier to make than a genuinely organic comedy feature film that lasts for 2 hours.
That's right.
So I hope I find more scripts like Bro Daddy.
Yeah.
And it would be great if I can do comic cinema. I would love to do a comic film in Hindi, actually. Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah.
All right, then. On that note, thank you so much. All the very, very best for Salaar.
Thank you.
Forward
Thank you
to
so
that.
much. Nice talking to you.
Lovely. Likewise.
Yeah.
Thank you.